Hello everybody, I am Flavio Borrelli and I'm glad to be here to share with you my work, and I hope you will enjoy it. I always find it very hard to define my work. I try not to do it because when we try to define something, giving definition, we also at the same time give it limit, so boundaries. So I don't like the idea to put boundaries between disciplines. So I should say I'm an architect, I'm an artist, I do this, I do that. But I do prefer define myself as a highly creative person who is in constant process of experimentation and transformation of physical matter into concrete ideas at the scale of the objects and at the scale of the space. Well, I'm not like those kind of current virtual artists who just need a computer to come up with ideas and realize them, who work pretty much with virtual things, dematerialized things. I contrarily work with physical matter, with physical materials. So when you work with materials, actually you need a space, a studio like this, big enough to contain different materials, that allows you to experiment at the same time with different objects, with different techniques. And what is indispensable to my work are actually building tools like hammer, like a plier, like a measuring tape, for example, and screwdrivers or brushes. So those are the tools indispensable in my work. But what is really indispensable as a tool are my hands, because without them I cannot do anything at all. Well, I don't have a real deep relationship with social media. I don't use Facebook, I don't use TikTok, I don't use all those kind of things. I just have my website, flavioborrelli.com, and I recently created an account on Instagram, and I did that just because a friend of mine forced me to do so. One day he came up and said, Flavio, if your work is not on Instagram, it doesn't exist. So I created an account, and I must say he was right. I must say that I should have done it long before. Art gives me freedom, freedom to reinvent, experiment, express myself freely. And art for me is also a sort of training. I like the idea of training myself to push myself beyond the limits. And when I come up with new discoveries, I like the idea of mixing things up between different disciplines. I must say also that I come from an architectural background. So as soon as I start working as an architect, I soon realized that architecture as a profession, it was very far from the idea I had. It was getting too much, is still getting too much virtualized, mechanized, and there is very little space for concrete research. And that's why from the very first project I started working, I realized that I was more inclined doing things that concerns more art than architecture itself. So that's why I started experimenting my vision beyond the field of architecture, and art is the best tool to freely experiment your idea and try to do something out of them and try to have an impact on people. But at the same time, art gives me a mean to understand better myself, my life, my position in society. I'm very much alarmed at see how much mankind is being replaced by machine, by computer, by algorithms, and this sort of trend, it scares me a lot. I'm very much attached to the idea that man is a very central ingredient of the functioning of life. And I'm seeing actually that it's being replaced till the point that one day, mankind will not be necessary any longer. And that scares me a lot, but at the same time it gives strength and centrality to my work. I just try to support the focus, the centrality of mankind as an integrity, a body, soul, and intellect in the relationships between form, life, and space. Well, I hope you enjoyed this brief exchange, and I invite you to come visit me on my website on Instagram, or come visit me physically in my studio at Marseille. Merci. Ciao.